Hello and welcome to Anatomy of Us, a show dedicated to bringing real help to real couples. I'm your host, Melanie Studley.
What's up, guys? My name is Seth Studley. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and together we are high-performance marriage coaches.
We are cutting through the bullcrap and creating a movement of happy, healthy, badass couples all over the world.
Let's go! Yo guys, what's up? Seth and Melanie here. If this is your first episode, I am a real-life marriage and family therapist, and we together are high-performance marriage coaches. Melanie created this show, and she created so many amazing resources to help you get out of your not-so-good marriage. Now, not get out like, hey, I'm leaving, but to get out of the rut and to fix your marriage and actually live up to the potential that God gave you and the potential that your marriage has for awesomeness. We are working towards that every day. I'm not just saying that. We actually are, and we struggle, and it's a fight, and it is just like, say that I lost 20 pounds, right? Am I good for the rest of my life?
Nope.
No, I have to continue to work and have the goal and move forward. So if you're new here, thank you so much. This is a good choice that you have chosen to listen to this podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, this is Anatomy of Us. So today, do you have anything to say right up the bat?
No. Anytime you lead an episode, it's like that. I'm leading it, but what do you have to say about it?
I'm leading it, and then 5 minutes later, like, okay,
right.
Intro's over. You know what? It's like the Lord of the Rings, which we will reference here again today. It's the Entmoot, right? We just got finished saying hello, and it's already like late at night, supper time, right? So you guys, this is a continuation of a banger episode. It was actually released today, May 31st. So you need to go back and listen to the spiritual warfare episode that Melanie did solo. It was released on May 31st, which is today, but this will air later. And you have to listen to that to get a good idea of this episode. So this is spiritual warfare part 2. And I listened to Melanie's episode this morning on a 5K in the woods and just thinking, oh my gosh, there is so much clarity. There's so much truth, there's so much wisdom in that episode, and it all came from you, which number one, I am very blessed by, and number two, it is super insightful, and it is a testament to like your heart and what you're striving towards in this, and how you see it. Not just like, oh, this is a joke. We have a bad marriage. Okay, well, peace out. I'm out of here, right? Mm-hmm. Which is what everybody in Seattle would say, but you don't, and I'm blessed for that, and I thank you very much for that. So, you got anything to say? Hello? Anything like that?
I don't know. This is, okay. Enough. So Seth said, I'm going to run this episode, and now he just keeps asking me what I have to say.
Okay.
And he's not even done with his intro.
That's right. So we're going to do a breakdown of your episode. But first, in that episode, you had mentioned the very, very much serendipitous exchange of what happened in that episode. It was after a tough therapy session, which we are in therapy, not because the wheels are falling off, because we know, just like getting a coach or anything, there's always improvement. There's always room for improvement, and we have grown a ton in therapy. So thanks, Janelle. I don't think she listens anyway, but it was after a rough therapy session, and you and I were just working through some stuff, and it was difficult, and we both came to a realization of like, what are we doing? Oh my goodness, right? So I had emailed you early that morning, and I'm going to read the email because you reference it, and this all has context, right? And this is just the state of where we are. Now, you're going to say, oh, well, you guys are marriage therapists and all this stuff, and blah, blah, blah. You guys should have it all figured out. No, this email was written on May 5th, 2023, okay?
Well, and I want to say, before you read that, I've been thinking about this a lot because I think it's challenging because we don't hide or sugarcoat marriage stuff, and I think it's less appealing. It's less appealing when people aren't in the like crapper, but when you're in the crapper of marriage and you see our show, you're like, oh, they get it.
Right.
Like they actually get it. They're not just researchers spouting off facts and numbers. They're not hiding behind like, oh, well, I wrote this book about marriage, but I tell you nothing about my own marriage. Like our whole goal is to be like, no, we get it. We understand that it's hard. Look at how it's challenging in our own relationship. And I think there's so much value in that. Like that is the reason that we share all of this stuff.
As an Enneagram 4, I can't do that.
You can't what?
I can't say, oh, it's all good, but then in the background it's like...
You can't not be vulnerable?
I can't not say that, right? So I'm special. I'm individual.
You're unique.
Okay, here's the email that I wrote to Melanie after the hard therapy session, after a what are we doing kind of thing, right? So, okay. I appreciate the talks and the chance to pray with you this morning. It's hard. Healing and change is hard, and it's worth it, I'm certain. I will not bring up family of origin things in conversation anymore. This is me talking to her about things that we argued and had conflict and talked about. I will not bring up family of origin things in conversation anymore. I know it is extremely hard and hurtful and everything. I'm sorry. When you bring up past hurts, my mistakes, the things that I've said out of hurt and anger, I know these things are wrong for me to say and think. When you bring them up, it feels like you think I did all of those things yesterday and I'm actively doing all the hurtful things over and over. This is not helpful to me and doesn't help increase faith in you, faith in me, or our marriage. Just like I know that it does not help you when I say hurtful things and the things that you have and have not done in the past. It is not helpful for either of us to remind one another about how we have fallen short. It is not helpful for you to remind your spouse how she failed or how he failed. It is not helpful. Don't do that, guys. Where was I? When we do this, it puts us back years and years. We are both guilty of it, but it looks different for both of us. I am so sorry that I've hurt you so many times. I own it and I strive to do better in all ways. I can only do it with Jesus time and time again. I can only do it with Jesus' strength, wisdom, and insight. I'm going to set prayer alarms again, and I ask that you join me in the morning, 12 p.m., 6 p.m., and before bed. I'll lead them. I will lead them. That's a big caveat there, you guys. This is how we heal and grow. It starts here. I'm sorry for all the hurtful things I've said when God was not the first thing on my heart. I reacted and did not respond from love. I love you, Seth, right? Now, in the episode, Spiritual Warfare, Melanie recorded it the day that I sent her this email, right? And I didn't know that she was doing a solo episode that day. And I called and said, hey, it's prayer time, 12 p.m. prayer time. I called and she actually recorded the prayer, which
I totally forgot. That was totally, completely, I would say it was serendipitous. It wasn't accidental, but it was not intentional. I had all the recording stuff on and Seth happened to call and I put it on speakerphone, which I do all the time. And it was, I totally forgot.
You don't record.
No. It was not like I'm recording this call. It was like I happened to have everything going and Seth called.
Yeah. So that is really meaningful, you guys, in the scope of this. That's why you have to go back and listen to Spiritual Warfare solo episode, Melanie, because that actually happened and I prayed and I didn't know that she was recording the whole time, right? So that's just it's a look into the realness of what we do, right? And in that podcast, she referenced this email. And it's kind of long, but I think that's, you want me to read the whole thing?
It's probably too long.
It's probably too long. Okay. But it's like a hype email of, hey, this is all the crap we see. This is what we've done over and over and over. We can't do that anymore and expect it to be blessed. I had this other idea. It's like, oh, wait a minute. If I do that thing, can God bless that thing? Can God bless that? Now, it's not like, oh, if I do this and I'll get these blessings raining down from heaven. It is not that. It's like, if I speak to my wife harshly, will that glorify God? Will God bless that? Will it bring us closer together? The answer is clearly no. But I don't care. I'm so pissed and I'm mad and blah, blah, blah. Okay, you can do that. I read this morning. Everything, anything and everything in the world is permissible. Do it. You can do it if you want to. Not everything is beneficial, right?
Right.
And those things that aren't beneficial cannot be blessed by God. It's like
Seth
the divine
is not
order.
telling you to do anything in the world, just so that you know. He's saying that's a Bible verse.
We can if we want to. See what I'm saying? But
the Bible actually says anything is permissible. You can do whatever you want. You can light your hair on fire. You could build an igloo. You can do heroin. You can do anything you want. But not everything is beneficial. It's just not.
That's right.
And it says it straight up, which I just love. It's one of my favorite verses.
So in that episode, again, go back and listen to it. Melanie gets pretty fired up, which is awesome. And I love it when she does that because it is her zone of genius, right? I'm looking at the book Zone of Genius right now. No, I'm not. It's sitting down, but it's over there. Zone of Genius. You like those words were just flowing out of you. It wasn't hard for you to do that, was it? You just get going, right? And when either one of us do that, it is awesome. I know that you have zone of geniuses in your own brain, and when you get there, it's like nothing else, right? So
why'd you close the email? You're not reading it now?
I'm not going to read the whole thing. It was longer than
You didn't read any of it.
Okay. I'll read part of it then. Okay. Fill in space. Okay. Melanie says, I appreciate this email and agree with it. I want us to write out a vision of how we want to heal our marriage through faith and what it actually takes to claim our marriage back from confusion and pain. That's a good vision right there. We talk about shared vision all the time. Claim your marriage back from confusion, hurts, infidelity, sin, wrongdoing, and pain, right? Claim it back, right? So when you were out of town, I watched some movie. Most of it was terrible, but it was like the Shorts movie, and it was kind of an artsy movie. I can't remember. Oh, The Ballad of Somebody. It's got one of the actors that we like in it. And there was one guy, and I loved it. There was hardly any dialogue whatsoever, but it was back in the like Western days, 1800s, and he was a gold miner, right? It was pretty cool, and he found a claim, and he claimed it, right? So what do you do when you find a line of gold? You go, oh, this is cool. I guess I'll sleep on it for a couple years and come back. No, you do exactly what it takes. You don't care if you find it at 11:30 p.m., you're tired, all this stuff, you go for it. You're like, I have something. And the Bible talks about search for wisdom as you would seek it out as you would for treasure or gold. And it's like, if you want it bad enough, you waste zero time, right? So there is an urgency for some of you guys. I think there's an urgency for us to claim our marriage back from confusion and pain and family of origin and craziness and all this stuff. And so Melanie says, I want us together to write down the daily must-do items, exactly like 75 Hard. Our marriage has been under attack since before we even got together. It is under attack every day, especially since we are thinking of making a big move to help marriages. We need systems of success and that are all centered on Christ and walking out our marriage biblically, right? Andy Frisella talks about 75 Hard. Obviously, we've done that. You know about it. And he also has a thing called a power list, right? So like, okay, what does a marriage power list look like?
You should go get it out of the house.
It's right here actually, but that's a whole nother episode that I want to devote a lot of time to. I also want you to stop reading or listening to anything about personal development or business and only listen to things that are about aligning yourself with God, learning how to have brave prayers and about calling out and calling up our family, brave prayers about pushing against evil, etc. I need you to hear me say that without your balls to the wall energy around following Christ like you actually mean it, we will fail. Our marriage, our work, our kids, all of it will fail if you don't show up for this one thing. Now, some guys or women might hear that and go, oh my gosh, ugh. Melanie is like threatening Seth or something like that, right? What are you smirking for?
It's interesting.
No,
I'm not laughing at you or anything. I just think it's interesting. Like, I love that you pointed that out because some people would see this and be like, what a B word. Like, shut it.
I don't want people to stumble on anything we read, do, say, or whatever. So I try to give as many caveats as I can, right? Some people might read that and go, oh my gosh, she's threatening, saying, Seth, you have to do this and no onus is on you, Melanie. And if you don't do it, we will fail. See, you didn't do it. You couldn't man up and balls to the wall. So poof, we failed. No, it is not. It is not that.
Poof, we failed.
Presto, we failed. It is not that. It is more a calling up and what is the word? Not an edification, but oh boy, I'm not thinking of the word, but a calling up. Hey, I see awesomeness, kick ass in you. Go do it. You can.
Right.
It's like having a major speech from Ed Milet saying, you can do this. You're the one. You're the one to change your family tree. You know how he goes on and things, which are amazingly powerful. He sees it because he has done it, and he knows that nothing is special about him that isn't as special about you. So what are you doing? Why are you wasting time? Right? So Melanie sees that in me. Thank the Lord. Thank you, Melanie. And she sees it in our clients. Some of them get mad at her. Some of them don't. Some rise up, right? I'm not sure what you're doing right now. But
I'm trying to film how distracting the dogs are, and then I'm going to post it on social media, and we'll all laugh because you're like inspired. And literally the puppy's been running around with a funnel. I don't know where the dog got a funnel, But the puppy's been chasing Doug with a funnel, and you're like, and the Lord will save your marriage.
So Melanie goes on to say, God will bring us to our knees until we finally see that God is all we need, right? And then she goes through a thing. God has already given us a bunch of things. God has already given us, in bold letters, right? Peace in our marriage. We just haven't claimed it. God has given us a thriving marriage ministry. We haven't claimed it. God has given us healthy, balanced kids who love the Lord and spread light. We just haven't claimed it. God has given us more clients than we can even take on. We just haven't claimed it. God has given us a dream home with a creek, a barn, a shooting range. Yeah, you know me well, babe. We just haven't claimed it. God has given us amazing connection and healing in our marriage. We just haven't claimed it. God has given us a community of believers to do life with. We just haven't claimed it, right? So this is it's not a threat. It's not a you better do this. It is a proclaiming of seeing a vision of what there is out there. All that we have to do is go do it, right? And then she goes to talk about Gandalf and how Gandalf was very certain and sure in the power that he had. Flame of Undune.
Is that what it's called? I mean, you're a dorkier than I am.
I don't know. Super. All the real dorks will go, no, it's not that.
They don't know anything.
But it's funny. I could dork out. I used to listen to Lord of the Rings podcast, and it was torture, but it was blissful because I'm like, okay, this is bonkers. Anyway, goes on to say all these things, not in a threatening way, but like a rising up, a calling up, what is it? It's not a premonition. It is a admonition. An admonition, I think that's the correct word, to go up and do this because it is yours. You can claim it. Now, I wanted to share that email because, number one, this is actually how we talk. And number two, it's really inspiring to me, and it feels very much on the same page. Now, none of you are going to believe any of this spiritual warfare stuff that we're talking about unless you actually believe in the premise, the fact of good things and evil things, right? Even the non-Christian, non-Muslim, non-Jew, non-anything can go, there are good and pleasant and kind and altruistic things in this world that if everybody did them, the world would be a better place, right? And then literally all you have to do is go outside or turn on your TV or open Instagram, depending on who you follow, and go, there are clearly evil things. Not just, luck of the draw, this is just life, this is just how it is. No, there are nefarious, demonic, dark things out there whose only aim is to break you and to destroy.
Kill, and destroy.
Right. I mean, it is like there's, I don't know why this thing came into mind, but it's spring out here, right? In Seattle, on my run this morning, I was just like running in a leaf or something. I was just like running in chlorophyll.
Oh, all the green?
Everything was green. The trail was just overgrown. You just run through it anyway. It is like
running in a leaf.
There is it's kind of like the never ending story, right? Maybe you guys know the never ending story.
The nothingness?
It's the nothingness, right? It's like there's a thing out there that takes every beautiful flower, everything that is growing to create more life, like a seed or this, and just gobbles it up, turns it to useless dust, right? There are things out there like that. And especially you guys, against marriages. We've talked about family of origin for 6 years now. You are creating the family of origin of your kids. You have such an influence on what your kid thinks, what they believe about themselves, about God, about one another, about marriage, about self-esteem, about self-confidence, against good and evil. You are creating that. So what more fertile ground is there to go, all right, let me attack the soil so nothing can grow. Let me contaminate and destroy the soil. Let me break it apart and just ruin it where nothing good can grow. Or, in the more nefarious way, let me just make the soil fine. It doesn't cause problems. It doesn't think that much.
Make it inactive.
It's just like, oh, it's just there. It's just there.
Right.
It doesn't cause waves. It does nothing for the kingdom of God, which is exactly what we want, right? So all this stuff, you have to believe in a good force and a bad force, right? And every movie basically is written about that. There's a protagonist, there's a good guy, there's a hero, there's a journey, there's a thing to be saved, there's a thing to fight against. Usually it's like, okay, you have to discover it for yourself. That is the whole point of all this stuff. So
I want to
keep on going.
I want to speak about this idea of making, so again, if you haven't read the Screw Tape Letters, it's an amazing book, and it talks about how sort of like evil infiltrates relationships and infiltrates your mind and whatever. And I think one of the most powerful, poignant things that God gives us in a marriage is our spouse and the insights of our spouse. And one of the most powerful, poignant things that evil does to our marriage is make us disbelieve the insights of our spouse, and look at them with disgust or disdain or just, like I don't even care. So it renders us ineffective for anything good, right? So if I think that Seth is just a total a-hole no matter what, I'm never going to listen to him. I'm never going to honor him as a man, as a husband, as a friend, as a father. I'm just not going to do those things. And so evil can take my relationship with Seth and make it ineffective. It can make me as his wife not allow him to bloom and flourish and have fun and whatever. Like there's just so many sneaky ways that it works. And going back to the letter that I wrote Seth, I wasn't calling him out. I wasn't saying anything bad about who he is, what he does, how he thinks. I, in fact, was doing the opposite, saying, you know what? Like, I feel like evil has blinded me for a really long time. And now I can see my community of believing women that I'm in my Live Out Loud mastermind and in my own groups that I run. Like these women are helping me pull back this, like this veil of blindness of contorted truths and helping me see the truth of who you are, Seth. And the truth is, we can't have a thriving business and impact marriages and bring people to Christ if I believe that you're just an idiot and you believe that I'm just a B word. Like that's not going to work. But for a really long time, that's how we functioned. Sort of like halfway trying to do right, but then halfway being like, doesn't really matter anyway.
Right.
You know? And so there's just so much to be said for the wisdom of surrounding yourself with godly friends, number one. But also like really listening to the truth-based heart of your spouse and hearing like what I said to Seth again in that email. None of it is demeaning. None of it's bad. It's literally all good. And again, I want to go back to this one thing really quick, that it's that like the biggest trick that the devil ever pulled was making people believe that he wasn't real,
right,
or whatever. And it's that idea of like, just be super ineffective. Like that will be great. And that's not gonna get, I don't know. Again,
as you were talking, I was thinking of this analogy in how you are admonishing me to step up, and not just me. I'm not a bum either. So it wasn't like, hey, you better do this, or else. It is helpful, right? And as our counselor says, speak words to Melanie that build her up, right? Speak words to Seth that build him up, kind of thing. And that was words that built me up. And so if you have done, I'll give a parallel analogy here. If you have done 75 hard and you did it and you really kicked ass and you finally hit the core of what you are capable of, like doing hard things, keeping your promises to yourself, and the confidence and the self-esteem that builds and the belief in yourself that builds, you want other people to do it as well, right? So, as Van Gogh says, you first must experience what you want to express, right? I could not preach about 75 hard had I not done it the first time and then 4 times after that, right? 3 times after that. We could not preach, and I'll use the word preach, maybe the first time ever, about marriage and spiritual warfare if we didn't go through all the crap. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the Matrix and the blue pill or red pill. You know, Neo goes, oh, wait a minute. This actually was bonkers. This actually is all fake. Now I know. Now I'm going to fight for other people to know as well. And our journey, if anything, has been, oh, wait a minute. with all the book knowledge that we have, I'm a therapist for crying out loud. Tens of thousands of hours of client work, of clinical work. And the only thing that has saved our marriage over and over again is our reliance and faithfulness to God, right? Because I will blow it up. I'll blow it out of the water. I have before, right? You too, right? But what is the saving thing that brings us back every single time?
God,
right?
Prayer.
So it's the realization of, oh, we can't do it without that. So my email to her email back was us realizing, and we already knew it, but it was in agreement and claiming it, like you said, right? Claiming it, right? So,
can I transition to literally the things that we've created for this? Can we share the power list, please?
I thought it could be a whole different episode because I still have more notes and stuff like this, but if you want to, that is fine. What is your intuition saying?
I want to share those things, and I want to share these. Will you get the 3? Now, this is real time. We didn't talk about this. So set that here. Go get those 3 things. All of our 3 things there. Can you grab them? And again, I think it's really connected to the spiritual element of what we're talking about, and I want to share them because this is you know me. I have
do know you.
ADD.
Luckily.
And I can't remember anything. And it's not because I'm the worst, but it just is a way that my brain works, needs tangible things to look at and work from.
Object permanence.
And so I wanted to take these concepts of what we're talking about.
Why don't you start with the first one?
Well, hold on. I wanted to take, my whole goal has been to take our marriage issues and like put them into a place where people could look at them. That's why it's called Anatomy of Us. I was going back and forth when we were naming the podcast because I was like, I want it to be like dissecting. We're tearing it apart. We're looking at all the things, but it was like, how do you make it dissection of us? And so it became Anatomy of Us. It's all of the pieces, right? And especially in this season of looking at re-energizing the faith aspect of our relationship, I'm like, I need something that has it every day. Like, and that's why I made the power couple list, sorry. And all the things that we've made. So again, this is going to feel unrelated for a hot second. I'm going to hold all these things up that I have made, that we have created together. This isn't even everything. And this all is almost like my way of making a prayer and a how would you say it? Making the things that we've actually walked through into tangible things for people to also walk through so they can hold it in their hands and have the success that we've had and take the journey that we've taken, because it's really, really hard to do it any other way. What did you want me to start with? What were you saying?
The first resource.
What's the first?
The workbook.
Okay. Okay. Again, spiritual warfare. People... We've been through a lot. Seth and I have been through a lot. And I do believe that our marriage has been under attack since before we even got married. Do you want to tell them the story of your eyes changing?
I don't even know what that means. So
don't you remember your eyes changing?
I can tell the story, but I still don't know what it means.
I don't know what it means either, but it was weird. Anyway, maybe we'll tell it at a different time. But in season 1 of our whole show, we created a workbook, and it's called I Would Rather Be Divorced. You can get it on our website. And the whole thing is like us walking through. Look at this thing. It's massive.
Okay. Hey, honey, I got us a marriage workbook. It's called I Would Rather Be Divorced. What?
I know.
What's wrong with you?
Look at it. It's Seth on the cover with a black eye that I gave him. Again.
So I Would Rather Be Divorced is a line that we have both said to one another.
Yep. So this is like, we do the workbook for this is for the first 12 episodes or 13 episodes of our podcast has a workbook, right? Again, I know this doesn't seem related, but all of this is like my heart to our growth and and your growth and what you can discover, right? So there's that one. We have the Back to Basics Bootcamp, which we created and we did at our church over there. It has it's a video course online. You can go through. We talk about sex and intimacy. We talk about family of origin. We have questions in here, unspoken expectations. We talk about invisible rule books. We talk about, there's questions in here. People, listen. Then you go to the pièce de résistance, the power couple planner, which again, I need object permanence. I need something to remind me every day of what am I even doing? Why am I even here? Why do I even need to pray? What's the point? Like all of that. That's how my brain works. And I know there are a lot of people out there like me. So the Power Couple Planner is essentially like, this is an empty one. This is a new one. So it's not the one we use, but it's essentially a breakdown every single day of how you're going to show up for your marriage, how you're going to show up for your relationship, your sex and intimacy, your like just regular everyday connection, fun stuff. There's conversation starters. And then we get to what I created based off of this like email that Seth is talking about and this like intense last couple of weeks. I created what I'm calling the Power Couple list. Here it is. And on here, the very first lightning bolt is prayer, right? We used to do pigs. If you've been with us for a long time, we did pigs, prayer, intention, gratitude, goals, something else with a G and then service. But on here, Power Couple list, the very first thing is prayer. The next one is gratitude. The next one is I'm proud of you. And then we have this like, how do you want to feel seen, secure, safe, heard, loved, respected?
And so, okay, this goes off of Aunt Priscilla's power list, right? And the power list idea is...
Well, sort of. I don't know his power list.
Well, no, when you and I talked about this, we've created it. So the power list is 5 daily things that you have to get done on that day. And it can be things, right? What gets measured gets managed. When we are intentional, when we write it down, we have such a higher percentage of actually achieving that goal, right? 5 things that you have to get done. It can be body, finances, marriage, work, anything like that, right? So we have found that, oh, wait a minute. I don't want to assume or just kind of falsely expect something from you ever, basically, right? Assumptions make an ass out of you and I. No, you and me. Assume makes an ass out of you and me, right?
Yes.
And so we have done that dance long enough, right? Melanie does not know exactly what I want, need, feel, think 24/7. Duh, nobody does, right? But oftentimes, especially couples that have been together for a long time, they say, you should know this by now. You should know. Oh, it hurts my feelings. If you love me, you would know, blah, blah, blah. And all this stuff that kind of gets us off the goal, right? So here is a list of, and this is homework, and this is an actual daily list of things, and you can't be like, hey, you didn't do number 2 today, so what's up with that?
Right.
No, this gives, so Melanie has done it. I have not done it yet. I am still working and thinking really diligently on it. But Melanie has told me the exact way, the exact thing to do, the exact words to say, anything of how she can feel seen, secure, safe, heard, loved, and respected, right?
And I want to...
So those 6 core tenets are a foundation of any relationship: seen, secure, safe, heard, loved, and respected. And she took the time to write these things down. These are things that I can do to make her feel seen. You want to know one of them?
Well, hold on. I want to tell you why does this apply to the spiritual warfare episode? Because this is spiritual warfare. This is how we walk in alignment with how God made both of us,
right,
and how I can honor Seth with the behaviors, the actions, the words, the thoughts, the way that I pray, all of those things. Like that is what this is for.
Guess what? If I go too far, too many days or weeks, not feeling seen, not feeling loved or respected, guess what? And this is like literal verbatim. I'm not saying, oh, this is something that could happen. No, this is the BS that does happen over and over and over again. Guess what? I start feeling a little jilted, you know? Jaded. I feel resentment. I feel anger. And then usually when I feel resentful and angry, what kind of Seth comes around treating you?
Dookie Seth,
right?
Dookie Maluki Seth.
Dookie Maluki. We don't want that. Understand? So what does that do? I just heard a sermon recently and just read, it's like a seed. Okay, once that thought, once that idea, once that little thing gets planted, if not squashed, if not actually destroyed, what does it continue to do?
It
grows roots and it gets bigger, right? So this is like an ultimate safeguard. So if I am looking at this, it's on our fridge. Well, it's not on the fridge, obviously, right now, but that's where it lives.
Hangs on the fridge.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Melanie, just let me make sure she feels secure, okay? She wrote down 3 things that I can do. Just say, mention, pray, prepare, whatever. Like, maybe, well, I'm not going to stereotype ladies, but okay, when your man cooks you some food and does meal prep for you, so you can grab and go and your blood sugar's all good. Does that feel good? Do you feel seen?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's one thing on her. Melanie feels seen when I cook batches of meat, meal prep, when I make the bed, when I share things like news, stories, posts, and podcast with me. She feels seen. She feels connected to. She feels thought of, you know? And then, of course, secure, safe, heard, loved, and respected. It continues to go.
And again, I want to really reiterate this. So it's so frustrating. People, I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to vent. Let me vent.
Don't get mad.
Not mad, but I'm going to vent.
As helpful as people.
We created these resources, number 1, because they're things that we struggled with. And number 2, we wanted to create a thing that was helpful for couples so that they didn't have to walk through the struggles that we walk through. And what's insane to me is that you go, okay, I made a power couple list off of one of the most 75 Hard is massively successful. The concept is very successful. So I took that concept and laid it on top of relationships and biblical principles, right? So a successful model laid on top of one of the most foundational, helpful things for a relationship, right? So it's consistency. It's how you're showing up every day. These things are based off of marriage research as well. They're not just I didn't just pick 6 things that I thought sounded cool. I went through, what does Gottman say? What does, there's all sorts of different research on what are the 5 things? What are the 6 things that people need the most? What do people get divorced over? Oh, and if you could just do this thing daily, they won't get divorced over it. But guess what? People look at this power couple list or the power couple planner and they go, well, that's too dumb. It's, that's just not, it might work for you, but it's just not going to work for me. I'm like, hey, brosif, did you ever do it once? Did you try it once? Did you fill out the form? Oh, wait, you didn't? And then you just told me it wouldn't work? Really cool, dude. Awesome. Let your divorce lawyer know how that went. Just do it. Don't tell me it won't work. Don't tell your wife it won't work. Don't tell your husband it's too dumb. Don't tell them it's too easy. It's literally just do it. And here's the funny thing about it. It's like flossing. It's like brushing your teeth. It's like the 30 seconds, the 1 minute thing you go, well, this couldn't possibly be doing that much. This couldn't help me that much, except for all of the unbelievable, terrible things that bad dental hygiene can give you, like brain cancer. There's, that, right? Poor dental care is associated with tons of terrible things you would never, ever, ever think. And all it takes is 2 minutes of your time a day. This takes about the same amount of time. It's like brushing your teeth for your marriage. Just freaking do it. And it just, I don't know, makes me so irritated when people be like, well, I got your planner, but I never did it. And it didn't work for me because you didn't do it. I don't know.
Well, that's like saying, I bought your gym equipment.
Yeah. I signed up for your membership. I didn't go.
Yeah. Hey, Rogue Gym Equipment, I bought your stuff.
I didn't lose 30 pounds in one day. Right. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I get irritated because that to me feels like the biggest lie from the pit of hell is oh, that power couple list, how sweet. That won't work for us. Okay. I shouldn't do it, So we have the resources, and obviously we are not the only marriage podcast out there, but we're one of the best. And our resources are here, right? There's other resources too. If you jive with this stuff, do it. It works. It works, right? So one thing that I wanted to say, in this spiritual warfare, it is a battle. That's why it's hard, people, right? If something was easy, if making money, if investing, if creating a business or getting in shape was easy, everyone would do it, right? And if it was easy and we got everything we wanted, you, me, the world would hate life, right? Because a good life doesn't mean that there's not any resistance, right?
That everything is just easy peasy and just going. No, it's like you
need something to fight for.
You need something to fight
There's
for.
research on that.
Are you kidding me, right? Well, so yes, on the human level, we have to fight for something. We have to earn it. We have to feel like I had what it takes innately do the work, to tough it out, to work through it. Your dad told me something a long time ago when I got my graduate degree. It was kind of funny, and in your dad's style, he was like, yeah, people really don't care about the degree. It's just the fact that you like actually did it and took 3 years to get it. I'm like, well, that's really true, right? And kind of like, okay, it's almost the end of the school year. Our kids are like, oh, I don't want to go to school. We're not doing anything. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. You have to finish. You have to finish, because if you finish and go, I'm going to see this out to the end, guess what? You will also tell that to yourself when things are hard, when you don't want to get up early and go hustle and make some money and do this or work out. You have what it takes, right? So we have to realize that.
I got to say something. Were you saying something else?
Go for it.
I just have to say this. Like okay.
Here we go.
It's not always this way, but sometimes, okay. If one of the people in the relationship really wants to fight for your marriage and you're dragging your feet and you're being a turd and you don't care and you don't think it matters, I want you to wake up. This stuff matters generationally. It matters to your kids a whole lot if you can straighten out your marriage. It matters. And I want to say this to the partners who aren't fighting for your marriage. The ones who are like, whatever, I don't care. Why is he always mad? Why is she always complaining about everything? Why does he blah? Like, I hear your spouses reach out to me and Seth, and they talk to us about what you're doing, just so that you know this, right? They're like, I want to talk about this thing, but my husband blows it off. I want to talk about how much, I want to spend more time with them, and they just blow me off. I can't get them to care. I can't get them to care. Okay. That's how marriages fall apart. That's how divorces happen. I just don't care enough. I just didn't care enough, right? And if you go back and talk to people like the guy who wrote the This Is How Your Marriage Ends book, the whole premise of that book is if I just cared like one iota more, I would be married still. But I didn't care about anything. The dishes by the sink, the pants on the floor, her feelings. I didn't care about anything except for what I wanted, right? So if you have a spouse coming to you, and maybe at this point they're mad. Maybe at this point they're like, why don't you even love me? You never spend time with me. You never do anything with me. Can we do the power couple planner? Oh, you won't even do that? Like, if you have a spouse coming to you, even at that level of frustration, listen to them. Take them seriously. Because again, if you're a believer and if you believe in good and evil, there is a lot of evil wrapped into not caring. There is a lot of damage that can come from being indifferent, ambivalent, passive. Like, you can tear your child's foundational, like the foundation of your child's youth, your marriage. So this, okay, let me clarify that. Mine and Seth's relationship is the foundation that our children's future will grow on. Okay? So the health and well-being of our marriage is like the foundation of a house that our children are growing up in. If I'm passive about my marriage, or Seth is indifferent about me or our relationship, we can accidentally turn that into fragmented, fractured dysfunction like that. And that's what evil wants. That's what Satan wants. What is it? The evil one comes to kill, steal, and destroy. He roams around like a lion in fierce hunger, seeking whom he can devour. The devil is a freaking lion, and he wants to rip your head off, right? That's all he's doing, to steal, kill, and destroy. And again, if you have a spouse
it can come so slowly. It's not like, okay, so has anyone ever come up to you and said, okay, so this is, well, actually they have, which is freaking hilarious. So,
what are we talking about?
Okay, when you say it like this, a lot of times I think people think like, oh, well, of course I would like fight against this if it was like right at my doorstep and the fight came to me and I knew what to do.
Yeah.
No,
they think the fight is a big production.
It is much more subtle because that's how it works. That's how you get fat. Right. You listening, that's how you are fat right now. That is how you have zero money. That is how anything, right? See a little spare tire that I have? I'm working on it, right? But there have been times when I have gone, like usually on the holidays, eat crap, drink whatever, don't even think about going to the gym. And it takes about 2 months, 60 days, and like, oh, I have 10 to 15 pounds of fat now. Now, if somebody said it on my...
Kugelhoff?
Yeah, of bakery.
Of Bonamy.
Of
what Bonamy. Is that? Bonamy?
I don't know.
Keep on, sorry.
If somebody said, hey, Seth, I have a proposition for you, dude. Okay, it's 12 o'clock right now. At 12:01, you want to have 15 pounds more body fat on you? What do you think I would say? No, I would not do that, right? It is much more subtle. It is much more silent.
Sneaky.
It is much more sneaky than that, right? Anybody listening would not go, oh, I just got propositioned by this super hot woman right now in my face. Hey, do you want to sleep together right now? Well, of course not, I don't, right? No. How does it start? It's super slow.
Right. Yeah.
Super slow. I was going to say that has never happened, but that has actually happened with you.
Several times.
And I was standing right there.
It's happened more than once. I was talking about this yesterday in women's group coaching. I'm like,
it wasn't a dude. If it would have been a dude, I'd be like, get the F out of here, bro. Right? But
I don't know what you just, that was a weird twist there. Not helpful, maybe, but.
No. I would
made it sound like it was acceptable if it wasn't.
No, I'm not saying it's acceptable. It's like, that would be, it'd be like a dude threat kind of thing. That's what I'm saying, right? So what was I saying with that? Oh, you were saying like, what were you saying?
I was talking about people being passive in their marriages. And
yes. So that's it. Like being passive, like, oh, well, I'm not going to do it this time, or the time has to be right, or feeling, or whatever. I didn't want to wake up and run a 5K and get in the river this morning, because I haven't done it in a couple of, I haven't done it since we got back from Tennessee, right? I'm like, I don't want to do this. Had I waited until the feeling and the stars aligned to be like, yay, I feel like running now, it doesn't work like that, right? Like after you buy the Power Couple Planner, you're not going to be like, oh, sweetheart, you bought the Power Couple Planner. Let me take you to bed instantly, and everything else is going to be awesome from now on. No,
nothing will be a challenge.
No, that's not true.
Not true at all.
If you quantify it and measure it and put in systems, then the challenge becomes less, of course. So wrapping it up back to the spiritual warfare piece around this is all stuff that, in fact, the Bible talks about wages war. There are principalities. Do you know what a principality is?
It's a place.
It's like a government, an institution, a thing like a township or a county or something like that. An organized structure, a principality that works against you, right? Like out here, we live in King County, right? And King County actually is against us if we want to build anything, and it makes it very, very difficult and super expensive. And a lot of people go, forget that, I'm moving. No,
I'm moving to Sparta.
Right? So what if King County was, I hate you, I hate your marriage, I will never tell you I hate you or your marriage or want it to utterly fail. I will never tell you that, but I will slowly change the tax codes. I will slowly change the regulations. I will slowly do all this, making you think that it's the best for you, or it's freedom, or you can be empowered. All the while, right? But I know my end goal. There are things out there that work against you, even just as an individual level, and then especially work against marriage and family. All right, that was a big sigh. What's on your mind?
No, I just want to say, like, I keep thinking of the tactical, like the practical side of all of this. Like, what are we talking about? What is spiritual warfare in marriage? What can it even be? Right? It's the subtle, like, that the guy at the kids pickup line, he's like, whenever I go pick up my kindergartner, he talks to me, and my husband never talks to me. And I'm just trying to get my husband to do the Power Couple Planner, and he doesn't. But the guy at the kids pickup line talks to me. Like, there's little things like that can turn into affairs. They do. Like, we work with clients that it turns into that, right? Or this idea that, well, my wife really doesn't fulfill me sexually, so I think I should just watch porn because it's easier. And she's not really against it. And maybe I can just like strong arm her enough, and then maybe one day she'll let me have someone else into our home. And that probably is going to be better, because I don't know, like, I'm just horny all the time. She doesn't care. And it's like, it's no big deal. That stuff, that's like big stuff. It sounds like I'm talking about crazy stuff, but that stuff happens every single day, every day in marriages. Same thing with like, well, all of my girlfriends just talk about how stupid their husbands are. And so I just joined the bandwagon. And so, yeah, Seth is a jerk. You're right. I can't believe he wants to go hunting. I can't believe he wants to do all these things. No, that is going to tear apart the foundation of your marriage. Is it easy to stop being in friendships like that? No, because those are relationships and it's a challenge. Spiritual warfare. It's a challenge. There's whole structures against you. Not that your friends are bad, none of that. But we want to be able to see and be able to have like vision where we can see what is good and what is evil, what is disease and what is health, what is life-giving and what is life-taking. And that's really the point of this whole conversation, the point of this podcast, the point of the spiritual warfare, the first episode that I did. And again, going back to these power lists and the Power Couple Planner and our workbook and everything that I've ever created is like, how do you take this tangible stuff that is life-changing and make it something someone can use? How do you do that? And this is my answer. The answer is the Power Couple list and the Power Couple Planner and the Back to Basics Boot Camp and the, season 1 workbook, because there is so few resources that make this stuff as tangible and daily applicable and clear and whatever. There's so few resources for that. And the resources that are out there, people, even ours, they're like, well, it didn't work. Like, how many freaking times did you try? Didn't work the first time you tried to ride a bike, did it? But you got up. Did it work the first time you tried to walk? Sometimes it takes kids a year.
Okay. So
I'm mad.
Don't be mad. Everything's cool. How about this? The reason that you're mad is because you know that the resources like this and other resources work if people use them.
Yeah.
That's what you're mad at, right? You're mad at the kind of like red pill, blue pill, what are we doing kind of thing, right? And it is a struggle. Now, I'm not speaking struggle into our lives or your life, but that is the realization. And if you have worked out or walked over 2 feet, you know that things are hard. That is part of it, right? But guess what? The ships weren't built for the harbor, were they? What's that saying? Smooth ships don't make rough seas?
No, smooth seas don't make skilled sailors.
Right. So what does that mean? You don't get the training, the experience, the fortitude, the belief in yourself, the belief in your spouse, the belief in the ship, the belief in the things that you have created. You don't get the belief in those things unless it is tested over and over and over again. So I used to go rock climbing, right? In college, and we would do stuff that was called free climbing, right? So you pitch climbing. You go up, you set an anchor, right? There's nothing above you. It's not top rope, right? You go up, clip the thing, then go up another 10, 20 feet, clip the thing, and you rely on your shoes, on your rope, on your gear, on your cams and your nuts and all that stuff, and your nuts because we're climbing 400 feet in the air. But the one time I fell 40 feet.
That's a long
right?
way.
I climbed up 20 feet. You fall the first 20 feet. My pro, that's what you call it, protection, was right here. And then there's another 20 feet. I literally fell 40 feet from a rope and we were like 200 feet in the air, right?
Sheesh.
Now, was it scary? Yes. But had I fallen enough to fully trust all the gear? Yes. So I was scared, but not that scared.
Right.
It hurt because I hit the rock hard, right? But, now my perception is going to be very different had I never climbed and looking up 400 feet at some dude going, oh my gosh, that is crazy, right? But that guy who was essentially me has the experience, has the trust in his gear, has the trust in himself, has the trust in his partners. Why? Because he was out there doing it. Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is a conflict. It is a conflict. Again, I'm not speaking conflict or difficulty into our lives. I'm not giving it power, but I am realizing, oh, wait a minute. The resistance is where you grow, right? So I want to tie into something, and we'll wrap this up. But in my notes here, I realized this either yesterday morning as I was praying or 2 days ago when I was praying. And I had caught myself oftentimes, so we were praying again constantly in the morning, 12 p.m., 6 p.m., and then at night.
You
right?
set prayer alarms again.
I set prayer alarms. Who's leading those? I am. Has Melanie ever called me? Yes, in the past you have. But right now, are you calling me saying, hey, it's 12, let's pray? No. It is all on me, guys. It's your duty to spiritually lead that, right? So acknowledge that. And in my prayers, I have been praying for a very long time, God, please give me wisdom, give me discernment, give me the knowledge of this, give me these things, give me wisdom, give me this, give me that, right? And relying on God to give me those things. And then it hit me. Oh, wait a minute, Seth. Wait a minute, Timothy Seth Studley, the third. I'm not the third, I'm just kidding. You have those. Mm-hmm. You don't have to ask, Melanie, just, can I have $1 million? Yep, gave it to you yesterday. Just please give me $1 million. Oh, hear my prayer, give me $1 million. I'm making fun of myself now because I'm realizing a little bit of folly in that and saying, dude, you already have it. And I have right here. What does that say? Read it.
Application over knowledge.
Application
is greater than
knowledge.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say this goes right to this.
I know.
That's why the freaking first lightning bolt on the power couple list, why am I so mad, is prayer. It's prayer. Because people go, well, listen, people reach out to us and they go, my marriage is in shambles. And I say, how many times do you pray? Like, are you spiritual? Like, do you both believe in Christ or whatever? And they'll be like, yeah. When was the last time you prayed? Well, really never. What? I'm sorry. You are a faith-based couple, but you've never prayed. And you certainly haven't prayed every day. Okay, we've got a big old problem. So knowing head knowledge doesn't get you anywhere. You got to apply it.
Okay, caveat.
Caviar.
The long minute that I wasn't doing prayer.
Well, that could be our next episode.
I pray for you right now.
Dang it. Oh, it's supposed to be crickets.
That one's not even labeled.
Hold on. So that'll be our next episode.
No, it won't. The next episode is
it's not
a good topic.
That's not it.
So anyway, application is greater than knowledge every single time. Hey, I went to grad school for 3 years, got a Master of Science degree in research and all this stuff in marriage and family therapy, have done talks, have written papers, done thesis, all this stuff, right? But I don't talk to anybody about it. I don't do therapy with couples. I don't practice it in my own life. I don't do anything with it. What good is it?
It's no good.
Where does it only live?
In your cortical folds.
What'd you call me? In my brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Application is greater than knowledge. There's a bunch of different sayings around this. The one that I thought of was, every single diet ever created works perfectly. You will lose the weight. You will feel great. You will lower your cholesterol. You will increase respiratory function in your lungs. All this stuff. All this stuff. Every single diet works amazingly. Hey guys, I have the secret. Every diet works amazingly. You know which ones work?
The ones that you do.
The ones that you stick with. The ones that you apply. The ones that you are consistent with. Right? Every resource like this
works.
Every workbook about marriage, almost ever, every CD, every coaching plan, every book, every piece of knowledge, it works if you do it.
The system works if you work the system.
That's exactamundo. So I don't need, and you don't need, to pray, well, just God, send me a message of this. And he's like, oh, okay, here's another thing. It's I think this came out, I don't know, there's some super bad hurricane, right? And hurricane's coming, you know, people come to this old lady's front door and say, hey, the hurricane's coming, we got to get out of here, you know? The Lord will provide a way. Okay, ma'am, I wish you well, right? Okay, the waters come. They come to a doorstep. Ma'am, we got to get out. It's here. The Lord will provide a way. I'm trusting God in this, right? Okay, water rises. She has to crawl up through the crawl space in the attic. She's on her roof. The Lord will provide. Ma'am, the waters are coming. They're higher. Ma'am, come, please. The Lord will provide a way. I'm trusting God. Boom, she dies, right? Oh, what happened? God was like, every time the person knocked on your door, when they were walking with their rain boots on, every time the John boat came up to save you, and then eventually the helicopter came to your roof to say, hey, grab the line, I'm taking you with us to safety, to higher ground. That was my provision for you, right? So here's 4 provisions that I'm looking for right now. looking at right now, right? And don't buy anything, don't whatever. Pray with your spouse. If you don't know how, we have an actual PDF how to pray with your spouse, right? And it's free. Just sign up for it. So maybe this is a sign for you. I know that the Lord spoke to me like 2 days ago. It was like, Seth, apply this stuff. You have wisdom. Oh God, give me discernment. You have discernment. You know right from wrong, right? Oh, give me insight and wisdom in this stuff and bring people to me. Hello? You know how many people are praying for us? I'm thinking of 2 very specific. Steve and Hatisha. You understand what I'm saying? They are praying. Her mom even prays for us.
So a lot of ladies in my mastermind also.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, we have all that. Now, just do it. Just live it out, right? I have currently 2 gym memberships, right? I got to get rid of one because it's silly. Has all the equipment in the world, right? On my phone, I have a screensaver of what our coach posted. Monday, Thursday exercises, Tuesday, Friday splits, Wednesday, Saturday exercise, squats, bench, all this stuff. It's here, right? So I have the gym membership, I have an alarm clock, and I have what to do right here. If I don't work out and get lean and cut,
it's your fault.
Is it your fault?
Nope.
Is it the kid's fault? Is it the dog's fault? Is it Bakery Nouveau's fault? No, it's nothing's fault except for me, So right. I don't know what to tell you, people. Here's what I'll tell you. So tying this back in, Andy Frisella says this. He talks about like the government and like the man, but I'll give it a caveat. He says the government, corporations, people, like the system wants you to be fat, in debt, unhealthy, and not awake. Why do they want you there? Because then you're not a threat. You pose no actual risk, and you actually won't do anything to harm the system that they have created, right? Education, fitness, financial savvy, entrepreneurship, building stuff that changes lives, right? Spiritual warfare wants you not to do the power list.
Well, evil wants you not to do
not to buy the Power Couple Planner, not to buy the Basics Work Camp, not to...
Back to Basics Boot Camp is what he meant to say.
Not to listen to this podcast, right? Doesn't want you to read the Bible, doesn't want you to pray, doesn't want you to grow.
Especially doesn't want you to read your Bible with your spouse or pray with your spouse.
Oh, goodness, right? So there is a thing, and I can't see how people like listen to David Goggins or Andy Frisella or other people who don't really talk about God at all, right? They talk about, hey, you're easily controlled when you're out of shape, when you're in debt, when you're leveraged somewhere, right? And people get all mad at that. Oh, F that. I'm not, the man, right? But what about the bigger picture? And Andy does actually talk about this. He's like, there's stuff going on that we don't see, spiritual warfare and stuff. Larry Hagner all these guys that we respect and listen to talk about this stuff, right? So it's real. But people can listen to that and go, oh, the man, not going to do that. But then they don't see like the actual bigger picture of, okay, now we're focused on fighting the man, but we're not fighting a spiritual battle at all, right? And what battle is greater in the long run?
Yeah, they're the same, I think.
The same?
I think they're the same.
Okay.
But I mean, there's a lot that I would add to that or could add to that, but we're already very long on this episode.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But again, I think at the reason I brought up the Power Couple list specifically and the Power Couple Planner is that it is an act of spiritual warfare against evil. It's the maintenance, the daily relational, spiritual maintenance of your marriage. It's the daily relational, spiritual, foundational maintenance of your kids' future. Like, and I'm not kidding at all. Like, we have watched couples go through divorce. We've watched what it does to families. You've all seen it. It's not ideal. I'm not saying you can't get divorced or whatever, but there's just so much to be said for like this little piece of paper could transform generations right here. This piece of paper right here could transform your marriage, your level of happiness, satisfaction, your business, your everything. And it's easy. It's simple. And I just threw it on accident.
Right.
But anyway, we will have the power couple list available on our website, anatomyofus.com. And on Instagram and stuff, you can get it on our like Linktree, everything, bio stuff soon. But thank you for bringing up this topic to speak about. If you have questions about spiritual warfare or what it looks like or anything, just shoot us a direct message on Instagram or hello@anatomyofmarriage.com and we will get it answered on the show.
All right. You guys, thanks a lot. This is real. You were meant to do a lot more, and we can help you do that because we're striving for that as well. So, all right. Peace out, people.
All right, bye.
Later.
Thanks for listening to Anatomy of Us. This podcast is produced by my mom, Melanie Studley, and hosted by my dad, Seth Studley. Our show is edited and published by our producer, Reba Hansen, from Creative Media Support. Special thanks to our Patreon members that get an extra episode every week. Thanks for watching. Love you. Bye.